What made New Zealand cults different, unique influences and historical insights. Imagine a group of seekers hidden in misty hills, far from prying eyes, building a world of their own rules. New Zealand's remote shores, cut off by vast oceans, let such groups grow in secret. This isolation sparked cults that felt worlds away from the chaos of big cities elsewhere. You might wonder what made New Zealand cults different from those in places like the US or Europe. Key factors stand out. The nation's cultural isolation kept outside ideas at bay. Colonial history mixed old world beliefs with new lands, and indigenous Maori influences added layers not seen globally. These elements created groups focused on harmony with nature and community bonds, rather than strict control or doomsday fears. We'll look at historical roots, geographical and social twists, psychological traits, real case studies, and modern lessons. By the end, you'll see how these unique paths shaped spiritual quests in a land of stunning contrasts.
New Zealand's cult story starts with waves of settlers in the early 1900s. European migrants brought odd beliefs that twisted in this new place. Over time, these groups blended with local ways, forming hybrids you won't find in Europe or America. The mix of outsider ideas and island life set the stage for something fresh. Events like post-war shifts pulled in more seekers, leading to communes that lasted decades. This timeline shows how NZ cults grew roots deep in the soil. Scholars point to old letters and records from that era. They paint a picture of quiet gatherings turning into tight-knit worlds. Early influences from European migration. Settlers from Britain and Ireland carried groups like Theosophy to New Zealand shores around 1910. In Europe, Theosophy stuck to books and city halls, but here it soaked up local vibes. Leaders added tales of ancient Maori lore, making it feel like a homegrown mystery. Think of it as a seed from afar sprouting in rich Kiwi dirt. Historical texts from the Alexander Turnbull Library note how these early circles met in farmhouses, far from big scrutiny. This shift made NZ versions more about personal quests than grand debates. One key event was the 1920s influx of spiritualists. They fled Europe's wars for NZ's calm, sparking groups that mixed ghost stories with land spirits. Impact of isolation on group formation. New Zealand's spot on the map, thousands of miles from anywhere, let cults hide and thrive. No busy roads or nosy neighbors meant less outside pushback. Unlike US groups in crowded spots like California, these stayed under the radar. Records from the 1900s show communes popping up in bush areas. Families joined for a fresh start, away from old rules. This remoteness built strong inner ties that lasted years. You can trace it to ships docking with dreamers. Isolation turned small ideas into full communities, safe from quick judgments. Integration with indigenous Maori beliefs. Some cults wove Christian prayers with Maori chants, born from shared lands. This blend happened in the mid-1900s, creating rituals tied to rivers and forests. It differed from pure Bible groups elsewhere, adding a cultural depth. Experts debate if it was borrowing or true mix. Books like Maori and the New Cults by John Turner highlight genuine links in some cases. Others saw it as outsiders grabbing traditions for power. Real examples include prayer houses on Marae lands. These spots fused hymns with haka dances, drawing locals in ways global cults never did. Unique geographical and social factors. New Zealand's wild terrain and mixed society shaped cults in special ways. Vast spaces let groups go off-grid, building lives tied to the earth. Social rules, with Maori and European roots, added flavors you don't see in one-culture nations. These factors drove recruitment from folks tired of city grind. It led to sustainable setups, not flashy compounds. The shift from past to now shows how place molds beliefs.
While bicultural ties brought balance or tension, economic ups and downs pulled in more seekers, making NZ cults feel practical. Role of rural and remote locations. Think of the Coromandel Peninsula, with its hidden coves and thick woods. Groups there built eco-villages in the 1960s, far from town lights. This setup let them farm and prey without interference, unlike urban cults in London or New York. Sparse populations meant room to spread out. One study from the University of Auckland notes over 20 such sites by the 1970s. They focused on self-reliance, growing food in volcanic soil. These places built a sense of belonging. Members hiked trails for visions, tying faith to the land's pulse. Influence of bicultural society. New Zealand honours both Maori and Pākehā ways, which seeped into cult ideas. Some groups pushed unity, using Maori symbols for peace talks. Others split along lines, mirroring national debates. Sociologists like Paul Spoonley write about this in Nga Patai. It led to cults with dual leaders, one for each heritage. This mix set them apart from single focus groups abroad. You see it in festivals blending karakia prayers with folk songs. Biculturalism made ideologies feel inclusive, drawing diverse crowds. Economic and immigration pressures. After World War II, money woes hit hard. Folks from the UK and Australia sailed over, seeking cheap land and new paths. This wave fueled cults promising simple lives, with farms over factories. Migration stats show a spike in the 1950s, over 100,000 arrivals. Many joined groups for support, unlike in richer spots where cash bought escape. NZ cults stressed sharing goods, a nod to tough times. It created self-sufficient havens. Think bartering systems in remote valleys, rare in wealthier lands. Psychological and cultural distinctions. What goes on in the minds of those who join? NZ cults lean toward group equality and earth love, shaped by Kiwi traits. Leaders shared power, not hoarded it like in some foreign setups. This focus built tough bonds. Nature played a big role, with rituals under stars or by beaches. It contrasted with fear-based groups elsewhere. Insularity helped them shrug off critics, fostering deep loyalty. Psychologists note this in studies on island mindsets. Emphasis on communal living and egalitarianism. Kiwi values of fairness trickled into cults. Many ran without a top boss, with votes on big choices. This flat style differed from guru worship in India or the US. Experts like Eileen Barker, in cult research, point to NZ examples. Members shared chores, from cooking to building, strengthening ties. It felt like an extended family, not a strict army. You might ask, why did this stick? The nation's team spirit made it natural, leading to longer-lasting groups. Nature-centric spiritual practices. NZ's green hills and blue seas inspired worship of the wild. Groups held ceremonies at dawn on cliffs, honoring earth spirits.
Real spots like the Waikato River saw rituals with water blessings. Unlike doctrinal cults, these tied soul to soil. One commune planted sacred groves, blending prayer with growth. It drew nature lovers. Think of it as faith that breathes with the wind, unique to this paradise. Resilience against external criticism. Island life bred a us versus them vibe, but softly. Cults ignored media jabs, focusing inward. Government steps, like 1980s checks, met quiet pushback, not fights.
Unlike global ones heavy on control or doom. This blend made them resilient and earth-tied. Key takeaways: inner historical uniqueness, early migrant waves fused with Maori ways for fresh hybrids. Man-social influences, rural spots and economic needs drove self-sufficient groups. Modern lessons, wellness evolutions show how to pick positive paths over pitfalls. Take time to think on this. How does cultural openness spark good spiritual steps? Explore wisely. It could enrich your own journey.